Tampa students. My name is Lisa Camel and it's a beautiful day out here. We all usually start our morning with a cup of coffee and breakfast. On our campus, Morsani has wonderful egg scramble, and in the cafeteria we have a variety of foods that nourish us for energy to go to class. Many students take out their breakfast to eat in their dorms or in the classroom. Well, after you've finished your breakfast, have you ever wondering where do your to-go containers end up? We are here to ask students about the environmental issues today.
I usually put my containers into the recycling bin because then I know they're going to get recycled.
I don't know where it would go, but I think it's end up in the landfill.
The plastic containers would either go into the landfill or recycling plants. According to National Geographic, there's only 14% of plastic get recycled out of 78 million tons of plastic that produced globally every year. Even if your container ended up in recycling plants, if it's too dirty, the recycling plant might just send it to the landfill, and it will take hundreds of years to decompose. We have an expert about plastic products today to answer our questions on the risk of plastic. Hello, Professor Alvarez. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me, Louisa. I'm here to answer all your questions.
Yes, I have a few questions for you on plastic products and their impact. And my first question is, what are the risks plastic containers pose for our health?
Well, plastic has been part of our lives since 1950. Almost everything we see today is contained in plastic, wrapped in plastic, or even made out of plastic. Many of us use a one-time plastic container to store our food, reheat it, and we even use plastic utensils to eat our food. However, there is a risk of plastic leaching into our foods. According to research by Dr. Vanderberg, every food that is stored in a plastic container would have trace amounts of plastic. It's even worse if the food is fatty, salty, or acidic. Another research also showed a link between BPA levels, which is a chemical in plastic, in the urine and chronic diseases such as cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, and an abnormal level of liver enzymes.
That is really bad for our health, especially when we're trying to fight these diseases in our population. Now, let's talk about the environment. How are plastic threaten marine life?
Well, many plastic products get into the ocean instead of landfills or recycling plants. So, one nature of plastic is it absorbs toxins in the water. When plastic stays in the ocean for a long time, it's exposed to a lot of UV light and from the sun, which breaks it down into microplastics. The EPA recently reported that 90% of the plastics in our oceans are microplastics. And the fish consume these microplastics by accident, and since we love to eat fish, we end up consuming them as well. Therefore, I'm recommending that humans should reduce the use of plastic products, especially plastic food containers. We can replace these plastic food containers with something that's a lot environmentally friendly.
To my knowledge, there are many alternative food containers out there that are not made out of plastic, such as cornstarch containers or fiber containers. However, they're really expensive and not everyone can afford to pay extra for the containers. What do you think of this?
Well, you have a good point. The alternative food containers are more expensive. However, I can tell you this. By paying a few extra cents for the alternative containers is still better than paying for wicked expensive medical bills. Like I've mentioned, plastic poses a threat to humans' health and seriously deadly threats to their health. In other words, we are killing ourselves by using plastic. Therefore, I'm highly recommending for the nation and the world to cut back on plastic products and replace them with alternative biodegradable sources.
Plastic containers pose deadly threat not only to human, but also the environment. The alternative food containers might be slightly more expensive, but it is still smaller compared to the cost we have to pay our medical bills and environmental cleanup. UT should pay the way and be the model for a better, sustainable campus in Tampa Bay. Thank you for watching today. I, Lisa Camel,